Good morning, everyone, or afternoon, night. So, I have like a lot of paper in my house, a bunch of paper scraps and everything. And I figured out it is about time to make some paper art. I had some illustrations about some succulents I made. They're more like a practice instead of finished art, and I made them with Copics and colored pencils. What I really like about making these art pieces with paper is that it is really relaxing, or at least for me. I've been feeling very burnt out with all the witches and Inktober and making like very finished pieces. So making this art piece is more like a break for me. Also, I'm a person who doesn't throw away paper because I feel like I don't want to waste it. So sometimes I end up storing like a lot, and making these cut illustrations makes a better purpose than throwing it away. This is certainly not a tutorial, but if you want to do this, it is really extremely simple. For example, the paper I used for the succulents, it is a more heavy paper, so it was a little bit harder for me to cut the succulent very nice, so I took my time. It is important to take your time because using an X-Acto knife with heavy paper, it is a little bit tiring for the hand, and once you made a mistake, you cannot undo it. But for the leaves and other things, I use very thin paper. It is very simple paper, bond paper. Some bond paper I water marbled myself, which is also a really fun activity to do. And you have like a lot of paper handmade by yourself that it is pretty cheap to do and looks really cool. I use a very normal X-Acto knife, and sometimes I use scissors. This is actually a very cheap activity. You just need paper and an X-Acto knife. Also a mat for cutting, but you can also use other things to prevent damaging your table and of course damaging the X-Acto blade. I am not a very good example about this because my blade of my X-Acto knife is not very sharp. I haven't changed it in a while, and if you have the opportunity you should, but where I am they are kind of hard to come by, so yeah, I haven't bought any lately. But yeah, you should totally change your blades constantly so you always have a sharp blade and you don't damage your paper or your art.
Michael, do you have a coupon? Ugh. I know, it's just like I could set up camp at my cave, but I need a coupon. Fucking here. Oh gosh, hello. Ow. Fucking really? Yeah, it's like some energy drink to give you some bonus stuff. Yeah. Oh, it's a house way up. What was that? What do you got? Is that like the house in the middle of the street? It's so bad. Oh, he sounds mean. What are you bridging, Taco? You are freezing. Better put your clothes back on. It's always my life. Getting cold, hot, taking off my clothes.
As I wanted to give some depth, I think it is pronounced that way. Well, some depth to the piece, I used some very normal cardboard and some double-ended tape, which I stick to the back of the pieces of the leaves and the succulents, and it would pop a little bit more from the background. But for example, for the very thin leaves I used, or made I used some tacks. Now what a tack is, they are very small adhesive squares. I'm sure you can find them in any kind of stationery supplies. Mine brand is a Prit, but you can also find it with other brands, and they are really useful. I suggest you use your X-Acto knife to manage the tacks because if you use your fingers are a little bit greasy and the tag will not be very adhesive. I really loved how this piece came up. I mean, I just had these succulent drawings like very hidden away, and I think this makes a better purpose for them instead of, I don't know, being possibly thrown to the trash or something. So yes, it was a really short video because it is a very simple art piece to do, and yes, I had some good time. So thanks for watching. I will list down below the materials I used, of course, and I will see you next week. Bye bye.